everyone. I just want to. I still don't know how to start these videos. How should I start? So you can catch the line. That's my usual way of just rambling on. I've been slowly trying to get through this book. I've been taking my time, which is very surprising because, as you all probably know me, pirates is one of my favourite topics in history. Still is to this day. It's one of them. I think it's one of my favourites, I would say. Slowly getting through this book. I think I'm chapter 2 now. Yeah, I'm on chapter 2, which you can see. I should be using my bookmark, but I didn't have a bookmark on hand, and I ruined the page of it. One I don't like doing this, like bending the page a bit. I really don't. But I didn't have a bookmark on hand, and I was kind of didn't want to go upstairs and get a bookmark, which is my fault. This one actually did come from Museum. As you can see, I've looked this museum up, just like bridge and all that. So I looked this museum up. It's in London. It's annoying because there are a couple of nice things, nice shops and museums. And there's 2 cafes in London that I would like to go to. Before I do die in this world, I do want to go to those places. I don't know how long it will take, but I would like to. It's on my bucket list. This museum, what I read from the website for it, it does pirates, Vikings in one. So they have like a section for Vikings and they have a section for pirates, which Vikings and pirates, if you didn't know this one, which you probably do, but those who didn't, they came round about the same time in history. They didn't really come too far apart in the century history aspect, which is kind of cool. That's probably why the museum's packed with both, and they have like some replicas of Viking ships and Vikings longboats, which they're called longboats in those times. Vikings were called them longboats because they very much did the design of a longboat, and the Viking longboat was looked kind of cool and more graceful, more in well, I'm not going to say graceful in that aspect, but more like mobile, movable, that sort of thing. It can be faster. It can, because Vikings were more of a raid, so they wanted something like a wall boat, not heavy, not movable, mobile in that kind of aspect. Where pirates' ships were more of like heavy built, more taller, had cannons as well, so they had to be a bit more heavier, a bit more durable. But I wouldn't say it wasn't much movable and mobile as the longboats were. I should really try and explain this a bit more better, but me explaining things is kind of not my strong suit. I'm trying to get better at it and improve, but it's just not my strong suit. Never is. But they done like replicas where you can stand on, you can walk around, you can see some artifacts, which I love to just stand on one, and you feel like you relive in history in that aspect. I'd love to just, on my bucket list is to go to the museum and just be there, see some artifacts, stand on a ship and a longboat. I don't care what sort of, where it's just a replica is not really accurate. I don't care about that, because pirates' ships and longboats as well, their history is still there's still some things about them both that are still unknown, that are just estimated, guessed on, like some sort of people in those centuries where they're still guessed upon on how they lived and all that. It's still, you can estimate and figure out, but it's always not going to be accurate, which to what they really did, because we can't go back. There's not much around, like artifacts and like skeletons, and sure, skeleton and graves and their graves can tell you something about who they were, but it can't tell you much, in my opinion. It probably is something else to your opinion, which is always, it's still a known topic for all of us, really. Even to this day, it's still unknown on both their history aspects, and probably even more parts of history it's still unknown, which was understandable, really. So I love to just stand on the replica of any ship, where it's just a ship that I don't know much about, or whether it's a ship that I did know something about but not a lot, or it's just, it's kind of, it's made to the point where we think it looked like, but it might not look like that. It might miss something, or miss a little detail that we didn't know, and I just love to just be there. So I've always looked at their shop as well, because I want to see if you can order something from the shop and all that sort of thing from museums these days. I think most museums do that. I think they do. I've seen a couple things where, yeah, it does look cool, and I've seen like an old compass of probably very similar to what Vikings used, but I know Vikings, sometimes they actually use like a tub of water on the boat edge, and they put like it probably was called something different, but it looked like it's just a twig, or just like a lollipop stick, or stuff like that. Ice cream stick, that was it. In the water, and wherever it pointed to, that's where north was, or they tell by the clouds, or the waves. Sometimes they actually call it by the waves. That was kind of cool. And they had like a little pirate's compass as well, and a telescope as well. But I love to just go to that museum. Every year would. It's on my bucket list. I'll do before I die. I don't know when, but I'll make to the point where I can go there, because I love to go there. And although there's a couple of other things in London I love to just go to, there's 2 cafes I love to go to, because what those 2 cafes do, you can't get anywhere else. So it's kind of annoying. So what else? I'm trying to think what else. On the first chapter was this learning about Francis Drake, which wasn't really a pirate in my aspect, because I know much about Francis Drake. It was nothing more. I think it was like more of an explorer, more of an adventurous, more of a, because he worked with Queen Elizabeth. He was one of Queen Elizabeth's war aspect. He did like a lot of fighting. He was commander of the ships at Queen Elizabeth when she raided, had a war in Spain or something. I can't remember what else it was called. But in my way of seeing that Francis Drake, he was more of an explorer, more adventurous, more of a, not too much of a pirate, because he turned, I think he decided to put away his piracy and retire from piracy at all, in which younger days were probably still not much of a pirate, but am I still knowing him? And we also, this book also touched on the first chapter of the first woman pirate, which wasn't that many, because in those times, I don't know, it still is to this day, but women weren't allowed on the boats. They weren't allowed on a ship. They weren't allowed to rule the sea. They weren't allowed to just go out to sea. They were allowed to do a lot of things in those times. They were sort of like a bad luck charm, like a bad karma. Even a fun storm before the fight was bad karma. Pirates saw it like, I think Vikings also saw it too, but in my aspect, Vikings were a little bit, not much of that. But it's my aspect, my opinion of it. Pirates refused to go and fight and raid a ship, or what they ever sometimes raid on land. I'm using the word term raid because pirates and Vikings were very much the same, and they both raided, just in different ways, but they both raided. So they thought it was a bad luck. They refused. Even when it rained, they refused. Don't know why, but they thought it was bad karma. Don't know if anyone proven that, but it is. So learning about the first woman pirate, that was really cool and really good, because I don't know much about women pirates and all that piracy and all that for them. I know a couple of women ones, but I don't know much about the I think she was called Mary or something like that. I think her name was Mary. And she was very good. She was like a bit more, she was probably more feared than the male ones. Some of the male ones, but she was more feared. She was more badass. She was more of a problem solver, in my opinion of her. She was more of a problem solver because she saw a way out and all that. And the first chapter also touched on Captain Kidd, which I don't know much about him. I know very little about him, and it was very good to. Still was too little. Don't know where we go. The book goes more further into detail of him later on, but I think there was like only 2 pages of him, so they went very little into his before, when he was a kid, and how he got into it. And I think they're still looking for his treasure, because I don't think Captain Kidd's treasure has been found yet, as I know. As I know, I don't think it's been found to this day. Because some pirate treasure is still, we don't know where it is. You can estimate whereabouts they are said to, what's the word again? The life aspect, but sometimes you just don't know. So most of it's like ships, the ones that are sinking, some of them are still not found. Some of them have been recovered, and you know where about them. But that's also another bucket list for me, to dive to a shipwreck. It's on my bucket list. Just to not disturb them, because there are graves, but just to dive down to it and have a look, where it's just like from the outside view. That's it. But I love to. Don't know when I want to be able to do that, but it's one of my missions, one of my bucket list. Trying to think what else. Touch on like Spanish pirates as well, because they had pirates as well, so that was kind of cool. I'm trying to think what else. Almost towards the end of Berseria, Tales of Berseria. Again, don't know why, but I always go back to that game. It's one of the games I usually have a break from for a couple of years or for a couple of months, and then go back to it. Don't know why, but Tales games, they're just, you go back to them. As I said before, I might replay Tales of Ares again, because it is a good game. I quite enjoyed playing through it, and I did it with no help whatsoever. No walkthroughs, no cheating, and I walked through the mazes, puzzles by myself. That was kind of cool and really awesome for me, because it's not many times I've done that. This year I've done it all by myself again. I think the first time I played, I had help from a walkthrough with some puzzles, because there's a couple of puzzles in there that I got stuck on. I kept wandering around for ages. I thought, right, let's cheat for a little bit and have an idea where I need to go, at least where I need to be at. And second time, I can't remember. I think I got the hang of it second time, but I had like every now and then with a puzzle, but I managed to get out of it. But when it came to the third time, I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing now. I don't know why, but let's go back to the Tales games. It's weird to me. I've also been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla a little bit every now and then. It's not a game I often play. I often choose to play it. Don't know why, but I do enjoy the Assassin's Creed games. I think I played 2 of them. I can't remember. I know I played Black Flag. I know I played the first one. I can't remember now. It's not a game I often go to play, and yeah. I keep thinking of sort through my games, because some of them I just lost interest in, and to also make space. But I don't know. Right, want to play a game, and don't know. So I'm put this book away now, because I have it in my hand, and I must be chapter 2 at some point. I don't know when, but when I feel motivated to read a book or have a spare moment to spare, which should be more often, but you don't always want to read every time. Other than that, I am going to go now. I hopefully have my hair cut on Sunday. Fingers crossed, because my head needs styling again. It just doesn't know where to go or where to lay my head that minute. So that'd be nice. I'm still waiting for Demon Slayer to download. It's been 2 days. Still waiting. Probably about a quarter of the way through already. That's it. Not even playable yet. Could be a while, could be 2 weeks, maybe 3. Don't know. I have been playing like one of like the old Final Fantasy games, which I haven't played, but I've heard that is really good. And I've seen bits of it on YouTube. I've probably been meaning to play for a long time and meaning to get. So I've been playing a bit of that every now and then. It's a good story so far, really good plot and a good storyline. I like the characters. I know the sad ending probably is because of them. The only sad Final Fantasy ending I've had is, I think, 13th, when Sarah dies. That's a sad ending. And then they get reborn in The Lightning Returns. Don't know how that works. That's how it is. Yeah. Bye.